Hello, hello. It's been a while and I haven't put out a new video because I found out about OpenClaw and then I fell into a wormhole just going nuts on that. So I got in there and it was really cool immediately until I got home and saw I had burnt through $200 in cloud usage and I said, "Oh, we're going to have to fix this." So I dug around and I had to revisit and revamp all of the context management. Then I was like, man, getting follow through from these bots is really terrible. And long story short, I just built my own agentic AI system on top of OpenClaw, and it's got an app and every other crazy thing. And I'm using AI, I'm using my own system to build out new features. AI does the work, the database decides when. In other words, I have a principle here, an overarching ethos, if you will. If something can be done deterministically, it should be done deterministically. And if you're not great on vocabulary, I just mean we should cut AI out of as many places in the plan as we can so that we can reserve it for where it's actually powerful and where spending money on it is actually beneficial. The core idea, AI does the work, but the system decides when work happens, is pure database logic. So no more token spending on orchestration, period. That's all free now. A simple query runs every minute, checks there's a step ready to go, dispatches it. Simple. It's quite a bit more complicated than that, but this is a marketing deck, so forgive me for that. Three ways to get things done. This is the normal way. I go in my case, the Discord, could be WhatsApp. You just say, hey, do some stuff. Boss gated. You're the boss. That just means that you could add checkpoints where you want the AI to check, in which case I get pinged on Discord. Hey, I'm done with my stuff. I need you to come check it out. Pretty simple. Autonomous. This is like your marketing director and he needs to wake up and it needs to make Twitter posts and it needs to do this and that. Or just anything you don't want to be bothered with by getting processes that you need to run and not be blocked by you needing to look at them. Projects, plans, steps. So projects contain plans, which contain steps. For example, install the TTS library, codecs, configure the service, Claude code, generate samples, just a complete system step, like a program that runs. Boss review, that's me. Integrate into app, Claude code, like this is completely fictional, just an example. Who does the work? Right now in my system, it's going to be Codex, Claude Code, OpenClaw, Boss are the system. I won't spend a lot of time in this slide. The system tries to fix it before asking you. So we have automatic failure modes where the investigator is watching the task. If the task is taking too long, it goes and says, what's going on with this task? And it attempts to fix it and get your process unglued. And only if that fails do you have to come and figure out what's going on. And I have had this successfully fix multiple things, unglue it, and keep it moving so it works beautifully. Preflight. If you're not a programmer, you may not be familiar with some of these terms, so let me get you up to speed. Preflight is just a review, a gut check, if you will. Is what we're going to build actually going to work? Okay? The preflight completely analyzes your entire plan, gives you the go, no go, gives you suggestions on what you could change to make it more successful. That's an optional step. Post-mortem. We don't want to just finish projects. We want to build our knowledge repository. So if we have to do similar things in the future, they're better, faster, and cheaper. Just always improving. That's your evolving brain, if you will. This is a pretty good deck. Good job, Claude. All right. Knowledge that compounds. So projects run, post-mortem captures the lessons, knowledge improves, knowledge files improve, Preflight makes better recommendations, and future projects run smoother. Pretty simple. Okay, architecture matters. Zero orchestration cost. You get fresh context in every step. If you've ever heard about OpenClaw running up your credit card, then this matters. My costs are super, super cheap because every step only has exactly what it needs to complete. There's zero context accumulation or bloat or context management that needs to be worried about. It's all 100% contained in the container. Right model for the job. If you choose to use Preflight, your Preflight will actually assign cheap models for cheap jobs. So you might get Haiku or a cheaper OpenAI model to do something. Or in my case, I've encoded a preference for using Codex or Claude Code, and I have those linked to my subscriptions that I'm already paying for. My Claude Max plan includes a crap load of usage, so obviously using Claude Code is the best way to go about doing almost anything. And you get a shocking amount of usage with Codex with ChatGPT. All right, subscriptions, not metered API. That's what I was just ranting about. Mechanical work is free, so basically your orchestration and things of this nature. Speaking of that, I still run the heartbeat. I'm using GPT Nano, which is essentially free anyway for my heartbeat, so whatever. Okay, what a step actually looks like. The step receives the brief. Decide if this email is important. Emails from partners at Acme, subject collaboration opportunity, knowledge file, what boss considers important. Then it'll give you a bit of a reasoning. So the step outputs important. Partnership inquiry with revenue potential, matches boss priority for business development leads. So you get one input, only the context that's needed to do the thing that it needs to do, the decision and the output. So we don't have context accumulation. We don't have multiple steps to juggle. That's all in the overall plan. That step has no awareness to. You design the boxes. AI does intelligent work inside the boxes. And then amazing tagline buried under a layer, which was going to be really awesome. Trust me. All right, let's get in here and see what this is. Okay, the system moves from box to box using nothing but a database query and a clock. I love it. I think Claude came up with that one as well, making me look smarter than I actually am. All right, there you go. That looks presentable again. My presentation is now presentable. Okay, let's go, guys. Let's actually see what the heck this thing's all about. I'm going to get onto my OpenClaw machine. I'm just using a gaming PC. I would suggest setting this up in a Ubuntu virtual machine. I know Mac Minis are popular, but virtual machine, Ubuntu virtual machine, you could just stand that up and run that on pretty much any computer. This is running in Ubuntu, but just using the Windows built-in Ubuntu that you can install in PowerShell. I'm not going to get into tech installation stuff. So I came in here and I said, hey, what from our to-do list would make a cool feature to demonstrate this thing being cool? And it said, how about this task sidebar thing that you were describing? And so what I said was, after talking about unrelated things, I said, okay, for the video, display in user terms what we're building. So I can start. The video is a basic human description of the task. And so we're building task sidebar. When you're looking at a task, the right sidebar currently only shows activity. When we're adding a second tab that shows all the tasks in the plan, so you can jump between tasks without navigating back to the plan page. Current task is highlighted, completed tasks are dim, the status icon shows what's done, progress, blah, blah, blah. Here's a task currently, okay? I was redoing my Discord notifications, and here's a task log. So what I want here is I want to be able to see all the steps in this plan right here, just toggle between them. And then when I'm on the mobile, I want that to be a pull-out panel. So that's what I described in natural language, by the way. I did not go in there and do R2-D2 beeps at it, right? I just said, I literally said it almost like it described it back. And then I said, okay, make a spec out of it. And it's encoded in Claude.md, how to write specs for the system. Now, can you set them up manually in the user interface? Absolutely. That's just the hard way, and I don't do things the hard way. Let's set up a new project called PM Improvements, and then go ahead and import the spec for the sidebar tabs. Burrowing. All right, hopefully this makes me look good, guys. I like to use Claude Code for this. That's my personal recommendation because it has the code base. It can look at the prompts and you don't need to do anything extra or special. And that's all there is to it. So it loaded the whole plan. So let's see what it did. All right, we need to go to the PM. And this is the dashboard. And here's the new PM improvements. Okay, so we have, you can make a new one or you can import. So if you have the spec, like maybe you made it in Claw UI, I have a how to build a spec prompt. You just dropped it into any AI project and you can talk about your idea and then have it build a spec. So if you want to do your brainstorming in ChatGPT or Claude, you absolutely can. Nothing would stop you from doing that. In fact, I've done that before and then I've said, hey, what would you need to know from Claude code about my code base in order to tighten the spec up and blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's click on this and see what it did. So the first step is we're going to, if we click on the thing, this is all the tech stuff that probably most of you don't want me to read or explain. But essentially, it's pre-built this into really small steps that are unlikely to fail instead of one giant step that is likely to fail. Pretty simple concept. And then we're going to run them sequentially. But what I did here, this is a little bit overkill for the feature, but I added the peer review. Means that first Codex is going to review the task, review the code base, and basically say if the code's shippable or not. Claude Code's going to do its peer review. And then this is a synthesis. That means Claude Opus 4.6, the most intelligent model, is going to take all the things from both reviews. It's going to decide what actually is relevant feedback. And then it's either going to pass it to the boss for review because it passed, or it's going to add additional steps for more development, and then it'll add a step for itself to recheck right to the end. And I will just stay in the end. I don't come in until the stuff is done. And that can happen up to 2 or 3 times. I don't want an infinite loop to occur, so there's a hard stop. If we review something 3 times and it's still foobar, you probably had a bad spec or something really went sideways. Never had that happen, don't anticipate it happen, but we plan for the worst. So just for the video, I'm going to go ahead and hit Preflight. Again, this is overkill for such a minor task. You could probably just one-shot this task in Claude Code. It's not that big of an ask, but I'm demonstrating the system here, guys, so just take it easy, all right? All right, here we go. Preflight. So we're here, we're on the Preflight. The first step in the Preflight is the system will dump everything to the screen or to the file system, and you see that just updated. It'll dump everything to the file system that the Preflight robot, AI if you will, in this case Claude Code running Claude Opus 4.6, will need to do to Preflight this task. So I'm going to just stop talking, and with video magic we'll be on a more interesting step. All right, guys, and it's always for the demo. It always has to be for the demo. I dispatched the Preflight, and Claude Code, of course, chose right now for the demo to crash. So if you look at the log here, dispatch the tmux session, tmux underlying Linux stuff. Task exceeded the 15-minute threshold. Let's investigate it. It said it dispatched the investigation. And then now here's the narrative. Claude Code session stalled immediately after dispatch with no output. Completed pre-flight analysis directly. Reviewed all 8 tasks in Plan 29. Verified workspace, context, and executor model assignments is already correct. Confirmed spec file exists. Check plan sequencing. All in order. Wrote pre-flight report with verdict approved. No task changes required. So what happened there is Claude Code was the step assignee. It crashed, so OpenClaw went to see what was up, found out it crashed, and as I had designed, it went ahead and if it's easily possible, just complete the step. It's not desirable necessarily for this to happen often, but if it does happen now and again, it's better to keep everything moving. Okay, so here's the pre-flight report. This is just the dump. You can read it if you want. This is basically just saying What are we about to do? And verdict approved. And then it basically said suggestions for improvements, no changes are required. And it has all of these optional things, the summary of assignments, whatever. I'm just going to go ahead and mark that as done. And if we come in here, we can see that we got notifications, and then for the pre-flight here, it let me know about my information. And then just here's the regular spam log for all the status changes of all the tasks. So I heard the Discord ping when this was done, which was about 16 minutes, which is definitely not normal, but it is what it is. Okay, where were we? Let's go to the PM improvements, and we're going to do the tabbed right sidebar with planned task list. Jeez, I can't speak. And let's go ahead and execute this task list. Now this dashboard will update in real time as this works through the steps, and be back at you in a few minutes. You can see that we have 1 of 8 tasks done, and we see that this task was completed. And we see now that this build tab sidebar audit log plus plan task just got started. So you can see these notifications in your Discord or WhatsApp or whatever you use, and that updated in real time as well. Couple features on this page. The global context. This is just additional instructions that get passed to every step. If you need to put anything in there, you can. You can't edit anything when it's executing, but you can pause the plan at any time and then edit this or add additional steps or do whatever. However, the reason I'm mentioning that is because I don't actually, and look, a task just got done. And because I saw the Discord notifications slightly ahead of the user interface there. But this was filled out by Preflight. I didn't fill that out. And all of these coder assignments were filled out by Claude Code when it staged the job. But Preflight may reassign some of these. It's allowed to do that. The other thing that Preflight can do is attach workspaces to the job. And if it attaches workspaces, that's just, these are the code repositories that are involved with this particular step. This is where the Git repo is. Anything like that can get appended into the step instructions. I guess I'll go take a nap, let my app build itself, and we'll come back and see if my task view is beautiful. I really hope that it is, or it will be a pretty lousy demo. So 5 of 8 tasks done. Very exciting to start the peer review process. Okay, so Codex actually already reviewed. So that's done. So we're going on to the Claude Code peer review step. Now, I had a really big change that had 20 plus steps earlier. This picked up stuff and it fixed it. It's always when you're doing the demos, stuff goes wrong. One of my prompts inserted its task backwards, so I had to do some live bug fixing. What it did was interesting, as it did a review and then it inserted the next review and then the tasks that it needed to fix in the exact opposite order. So the second review ran before anything got fixed, and it just added all the same tasks again. So I had the whole thing of tasks available. So I don't panic. You got to fix these things, right? This software is going to have some kinks before it's ready to go live. This is literally only my second day testing here, guys. So we caught it right here at this verification review, deleted the extra fixes, and left in the final review round here. So that was still pending here. So just deleted the duplicates and let it run. But what's cool here is that after it ran the peer review, it found things to fix and it fixed them. So that's before it gets to you. It's going to fix 95, 98% of the bugs. And we're programming, we're app building. If you're just trying to run an X campaign or something, you may not have as complex of issues as in a software project. All right. The boss review is in progress. So let's click on this task and we're reviewing it. All right. There's our new feature. This is what we just built. Hooray, it worked. That's another feature cooked and shipped. Wrong Discord again. Let's get the right one up. What's cool is this is the PM activity channel, which is just anything, and I have that muted. But when I have an action required, I have a specific channel for things that I actually need to care about, and that does ping me on my phone. So when the feature's done being built, I'll just get this notification bell. And then pre-flight tests have a specific pre-flight channel. It's just was my preference. So what would be next would be if we went back to the plan. Here we can see the whole thing is completed. And if we want, we can request the post-mortem. And that will update and improve our knowledge. And that knowledge gets reviewed on a monthly basis and compacted so that your old stale stuff doesn't move forward with you as your projects evolve. I'm going to request this post-mortem as we chat just for fun. But what can we actually do with this? Like you're saying, Nick, I don't want to make an app. I don't want to make a website. I don't want to make software. Okay, fair enough. What this can do is it can support autonomous processes. For example, imagine this. You have a process, which call it your marketing director. Your marketing director is tied into your Shopify. It knows about your X campaigns. It knows about things. Okay, let's just keep it simple and say Shopify and X. So it says, and you say, let's start by posting the X once a week, but you write a prompt where it's saying, when you wake up, if the things are going well, post more often, or you have some prompt engineering that you need to do there. I won't get into all that. Essentially, your task will start up and it will say, okay, I need to make a bunch of X posts and I need to do this and I need to do that. So it can spawn off these execution plans to do these tasks. And then it could say, those are set it, forget it, they'll run on their own. And then it's going to say, okay, we're getting higher conversions right now. So I'll wake up in 2 days and see what's up. And maybe I'll make some more X posts and maybe I'll do this or maybe I'll do that. And then it will intelligently manage itself. It'll update its context. It'll do those types of things. And I realize this demo doesn't really showcase that. This is more of just a straight up programming task with a boss step at the end. But the autonomous mode is a built-in design. And this is also, it's on the bleeding edge, guys. I've only just started testing last night. This is probably my 5th or 6th feature I've run through here. It's working well. Can it work better? Sure. There's some kinks I got to work out, but wanted to get you guys in on the bleeding edge and see what I'm cooking. And hopefully it will be exciting. We're going to be open sourcing this platform and offering paid support as our business model. So if you're interested in that, drop a comment and let me know. I'm going to make a lot of videos about this platform in the future, as well as just straight up prompting and prompt engineering videos as well. So if you're here, I appreciate you and see you in the next one. Hey guys, I lied. I'm back. The post-mortem summary, I felt like landed the video. Okay, so we have our plan, we have our pre-flight, and now we have the post-mortem. And then the executive summary. This is the part that you read. Obviously, you can read anything you want, but this is the part that's for you as the manager. Plan succeeded. It says what worked. Okay, what didn't? This is more interesting. It says all the things that went wrong, but more importantly, look, future updates. Future plans will include these technical things in order to not screw up again, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So this failure vector we had in the video, if I ran this particular feature again, would succeed the first time because knowledge, right? Here in my garage, we have knowledge. All right. If you got that reference, leave a comment. Hey guys, I lied. I'm back. The post-mortem summary, I felt like sort of landed the video. Okay, so we have our plan, we have our pre-flight, and now we have the post-mortem, and then the executive summary. This is the part that you read. I mean, obviously you can read anything you want, but this is the part that's for you as the manager. Plan succeeded. It says what worked. Okay, what didn't? This is more interesting. Um, it says all the things that went wrong, but more importantly, look, future updates. Future plans will include these technical things in order to not screw up again, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So this failure vector we had in the video, if I ran this particular feature again, would succeed the first time because knowledge, right? Here in my garage, we have knowledge. All right. If you got that reference, leave a comment.